As a programmer, let's say we've devised two classes. We've coded up two classes. The first class is actually called Class A, and we've defined various class level variables, and also we've produced and wrote methods. We've also devised another class which we're calling Class B, and it too has class level variables and methods. If we now were to use objects of these classes in some kind of program, let's see what would entail. Well, first of all, I like to think of this execution space, which we've looked at in previous videos. Now, whenever a program runs for the first time, there's always got to be something that's created. And let's say this is a Windows Forms application, so we would most probably get an instance of Form 1 appearing, as you can see here. Now, this may have some code inside it, which would result in an instance of Class A being created. And that is shown there. We can see the constructor new producing an object, and quite clearly we can see that this object has been given a name, and the name it's been given is my object name 1. So every object has its own name, and that name is completely different to the name of the class. I mean, this blue object, Class A, was its template. And what that means, if Class A had 4 variables, the object would have 4 variables. If Class A had 4 methods, then this object would have 4 methods. If I carry on and now let's say that we want to produce an instance of Class B, then we can see we have a constructor that produces an instance of Class B, which is obviously an object, and this one's been given the name myObjectName2, which again is distinctly different from the name of the class. However, this particular object, Class B, was its template. So here again, let's say that Class B had 3 class level variables, then this object would have 3 variables at its center. Let's say it had 3 methods. Well, this object would have 3 methods. Let's say we went on and now we decided we needed another instance of Class A, which we're showing here. Now, this object would have all the variables of this one. It would have all the methods that this one has. The difference is, however, these two objects are not the same. They were based on the same class, but they are objects in their own right. So they both have their own copies of the variables that were declared in Class A. And we can see that we now have 4 objects in front of us. The black object, I don't know its name because Visual Basic would have produced that for me. As a computer programmer, I was responsible for creating the 3 other objects, and I chose to name them myObjectName1, myObjectName3, and myObjectName2. If we look at these two, I'd like to emphasize that these are both based on Class A, but they're objects in their own right. They're entities in their own right. They both exist in the execution space. And what's quite clear is that Class A and Class B do not exist in the execution space. Now, these objects are in the execution space, and they can be messaged and been asked to do things as we've seen in previous videos. So for example, we can have messages being shown here. So the black object is sending a message to the blue object, which in turn sends a message to the green object, and some kind of processing will take place. And the messages are asking the objects to do something. And we can see another example there of a message being sent.